close your eyes and imagine. Right now, you are standing in one of the driest places on Earth. Around you, there is only cracked earth baking under a scorching sun, endless sand dunes, and a brutal silence. There is no water here. There is no shade here. For life to exist here is against the laws of physics. But right here, in the heart of this deadly desert, a city once rose, as glittering as Las Vegas, as vibrant as a modern metropolis. Petra, which we see today only as stone tombs, was actually a massive water machine. But how? In a geography where people prayed for months for a single drop of rain to fall from the sky, how did they find enough water to let 30,000 people shower daily and fill Olympic-sized swimming pools? This is not just a story of architecture. This is the story of the greatest gamble in history, played against nature itself. And at the end of this story, as with every great gamble, there are lives lost. Welcome to EpochLight. Today, we go beyond the stones. Today, we follow the water flowing through Petra's veins and the stories of those who gave their lives to bring it there. Now, walk with me. We are rewinding time about 2,000 years. We are standing in that narrow canyon that serves as Petra's main entrance, the Seek. Can you feel it? The moment you step between these massive canyon walls, the scorching desert heat outside gives way to a cool, damp shadow. Reach out to the wall. Touch the rough, cold sandstone. Take a deep breath. It's not the dry dust of the desert filling your nose. It's an exotic mixture. The heavy, spicy scent of frankincense arriving from Yemen. The familiar, refreshing aroma of wet limestone, and the smell of sweat clinging to the wool of the camels in the caravan passing right in front of you. That sound you hear isn't just a crowd. It is the sound of the ancient world's stock exchange. This is the Wall Street of its time. But here, stocks aren't traded. Spices, silk, and most importantly, water change hands. Look to your right and left. Do you see those ceramic pipes running along the base of the rocks? These are Petra's fiber optic cables. Just as internet cables carry data to our homes today, these pipes carried life itself, water to the city. The Nabatean engineers conducted gravity like an orchestra conductor. They adjusted the water pressure so precisely that water flowed for kilometers without bursting a single pipe. We need to understand this. The water system in Petra wasn't a simple dig a well and drink situation. This system was no different from the mains water grid of a modern city. In some ways, it was even smarter. The Nabateans turned the desert's deadliest weapon into its greatest gift: flash floods. In the desert, rain is rare, but when it falls, it is a catastrophe. The hard ground doesn't absorb the water. It collects and turns into a force that destroys valleys. The Nabateans built a smart valley system that worked much like today's smart home systems. They didn't stop the water, they guided it. They broke the speed of the water with terraces and dams built into the valleys. Think of it like stepping down high-voltage electricity to a voltage safe for use in your home. They tamed the energy of the wild. The ceramic pipes they used fit together so perfectly that modern plumbers still use this interlocking system today. And the most interesting detail? To prevent limescale buildup inside the pipes and to balance the pressure, they calculated the slope of the pipelines to change by only a few millimeters every meter. No lasers, no computers, no satellites, only observation and genius. This was the iPad of the ancient world, a design that looked simple on the outside, but housed complex and flawless technology within. History books always tell us about kings, queens, and generals. But Aretas, or the other kings, didn't build Petra. Petra was built by ordinary people whose names we will never know, whose bones are now mixed with the desert sand. When archaeologists examined the skeletons of workers in Petra's tombs, they faced a jarring reality. Spines compressed from carrying heavy loads, joints calcified with arthritis, bodies that were worn out in their 30s as if they were 80 years old today. Imagine this man you see on the screen right now. Maybe his name was Malakus. He wakes up before the sun rises, carving that sandstone we call rose red, which is actually exhaustingly hard. He wipes the sweat dripping from his forehead with an arm blackened by labor and covered in stone dust. When he returns home in the evening, perhaps he can only drink a single bowl of the water he brought to the city that day. This is what history often forgets. Great monuments rise upon great pain. In every meter of those massive water channels, there is someone's herniated disc, someone's calloused hands, someone's rheumatism. We look at those channels today and say, what magnificent engineering! But those stones remember Malakus's aching shoulders. So what was all this pain and engineering for? Just to survive? No. For the Nabateans, water was not just a drink. It was a status symbol. How do you recognize someone's wealth today? By their luxury car? Their private jet? In the ancient world, in the middle of the desert, there was only one indicator of wealth: the ability to waste water. In the center of Petra, there was a massive swimming pool complex. You heard that right, in the middle of the desert, where water was more valuable than gold, a huge pool built purely for aesthetics, where no one swam, just to be looked at. In today's terms, this was like having champagne flowing from the garden tap of your house. When foreign ambassadors arrived here, their knees would buckle upon seeing the sound of splashing water and lush gardens after the scorching heat of the desert. Petra screamed to them, "We command nature. We do the impossible." This garden was their Instagram profile. It was the flawless life message they broadcast to the outside world. But as with every flawless profile, there were unseen cracks behind the facade. May 19th, 363 AD. That day in Petra had started like any ordinary Monday. The marketplace was crowded, the water channels were burbling. No one realized they were watching the last sunset of their lives, tucking their children into bed for the last time. Just as in Chernobyl, just as in Pompeii, disaster does not make an appointment. Toward midnight, that terrifying rumble from the depths of the earth sealed Petra's fate. The Great Earthquake. Those delicate ceramic pipes that had carried water for centuries shattered. Cisterns cracked. That impossible engineering was leveled by a single shrug of nature. It wasn't just buildings that fell. The arteries of the city were severed. And when the water doesn't flow, life stops. After the earthquake, Petra tried to recover, but trade routes had changed, and Rome's power had waned. The city was slowly abandoned. Those magnificent pools dried up and filled with sand. On streets where kings once walked, only the sound of the wind remained. When we look at Petra today, we see a work of art carved into stone. But what we should actually see is a monument to human ambition and genius. They thought they had defeated the desert. They believed they could imprison the water, and for a while, they succeeded. But time and nature always have the final say. Perhaps this is the greatest lesson history whispers to us. Our civilizations, our technology, our skyscrapers, they all stand by a temporary permit granted to us by nature. The Nabateans managed the water, but they could never own it. This city, shaped by the tired hands of Malakus, the stoneworker, asks us this question: what will remain of us? Our digital data, or what we carved into stone? That's EpochLight. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the dusty pages of history. If you enjoyed getting lost in the depths of this ancient engineering and want us to unearth other stories forgotten by history, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Until we meet in the next light, don't stay in the dark.